I'm about to do something that mechanics have debated for decades: an old-school engine flush using diesel fuel. No expensive chemicals, no fancy additives, just diesel or kerosene directly in the crankcase before an oil change. Some swear it's the best way to clean a sludged engine. Others say it's engine suicide. Here's the controversial truth. This technique was standard practice from the 1940s through the 1970s, even recommended in some vehicle owners' manuals. But modern mechanics will tell you it's dangerous and outdated. So who's right? After 25 years in the automotive industry, I wanted to see for myself what actually happens when you flush an engine with diesel fuel. I'm doing this on a high-mileage engine with documented sludge buildup, following the exact procedures mechanics used decades ago, and I'm showing you the unfiltered results, the good, the bad, and what actually came out when I drained it. This isn't a recommendation. This is documentation of an experiment with full transparency about the risks and reality. Let's see what happens. Before we get started, let me be absolutely clear about something. This technique is controversial for good reasons, and I need you to understand the risks before we continue. The biggest danger with any aggressive engine flush, whether diesel fuel or commercial chemicals, is clogging your oil pump pickup screen with debris. When you dissolve years of sludge all at once, that material has to go somewhere. If it gets sucked into the oil pump pickup screen before you drain the oil, it can starve the oil pump of pressure, leading to catastrophic crankshaft and bearing failure. This is not theoretical. Multiple mechanics in online forums have documented engines destroyed this way. One mechanic described it bluntly. The loose sludgy debris gets sucked into the oil pump pickup screen, starves the oil pump, and results in major crankshaft and bearing failure. The safest way around this risk is removing the oil pan after flushing, physically cleaning out accumulated debris from the bottom of the engine and the oil pump pickup screen. Most people won't do that, which is why modern mechanics recommend against aggressive flushes entirely. The alternative many professionals recommend: if your engine runs quietly, doesn't smoke, and operates normally, leave the sludge alone and simply change oil more frequently with quality oil. Let the detergents in modern oil clean the engine gradually over several oil changes. This is safer than risking a sudden avalanche of debris clogging critical passages. With that disclaimer stated, let's proceed with the experiment. The engine I'm using for this test is a high-mileage gasoline V8 with documented sludge accumulation. The previous owner neglected oil changes, and despite switching to quality synthetic oil and regular maintenance for the past year, cutting open used oil filters still shows contamination indicating sludge remains in the system. The engine runs well, doesn't smoke, and has good oil pressure. By modern professional standards, I shouldn't touch it. But I want to see if the old diesel flush technique actually works or if it's as dangerous as people claim. The traditional procedure, as documented in forums and old service manuals, goes like this. Drain approximately 1 quart of oil from the crankcase. Replace that quart with the same amount of diesel fuel or kerosene. Run the engine at idle only for 10 to 15 minutes. Drain all fluid immediately. Replace the oil filter. Refill with fresh oil. Some old-timers went further, using a full crankcase of diesel with no oil, but that's significantly more dangerous because diesel provides minimal lubrication. The 1 quart replacement method maintains some lubrication while introducing solvent properties. For this test, I'm using the 1 quart replacement method with number 2 diesel fuel, which is similar to kerosene and was commonly used for this purpose decades ago. Here's the science behind why diesel or kerosene theoretically works as an engine flush. Diesel fuel and kerosene are petroleum-based solvents similar to the base stock in motor oil, but without the additive package. They have solvent properties that can dissolve oil-based sludge and varnish deposits. According to mechanics who've worked on industrial diesel engines, fuel dilution in oil is common from injector failures or other issues. These engines invariably come into the shop squeaky clean inside because diesel fuel really does dissolve sludge. However, these same mechanics noted that engine damage only occurred when equipment ran for days or weeks with massively diluted oil, not from short exposure. The key difference between diesel and dedicated engine flush products. Engine flush products contain detergents designed to dissolve sludge at the molecular level, ensuring deposits properly exit with the oil when drained. Diesel is a crude solvent without those refined properties. It can loosen sludge but doesn't necessarily break it down into particles small enough to drain cleanly. This is the core risk. You're loosening material without guarantee it'll drain properly. Let me walk you through what I actually did step by step so you understand the exact procedure. Step 1. Warm the engine to operating temperature. This helps the diesel mix with existing oil and makes sludge softer and easier to dissolve. I drove the vehicle for about 15 minutes before starting the procedure. Step 2. With the engine warm, I drained approximately 1 quart of old oil from the drain plug. This gives me room to add diesel without overfilling the crankcase. Step 3. I added exactly 1 quart of number 2 diesel fuel through the oil filler cap. I did not drain all the oil. There's still 3 to 4 quarts of oil in the crankcase, providing some lubrication. Step 4. I replaced the oil filler cap and started the engine. I let it idle, and I cannot stress this enough. At idle only, no revving, no load, no driving. Just smooth idle for exactly 10 minutes. I monitored oil pressure continuously during this time. If pressure had dropped, I would have shut down immediately. Step 5. After 10 minutes, I shut down the engine and immediately drained all fluid from the crankcase while it was still warm. Now let's talk about what actually came out. When I pulled the drain plug, the fluid that poured out was noticeably thinner than normal used oil. That's expected. Diesel has much lower viscosity than motor oil. The color was dark, but not the thick black sludge I was hoping to see, which could mean one of two things. Either there wasn't as much sludge as I thought, or the diesel didn't dissolve much of it in just 10 minutes. What really matters is what I found when I cut open the oil filter after draining. This tells the story of what actually circulated through the system. The used filter showed significantly more particulate contamination than my previous oil changes. Under magnification, I could see metallic particles and carbon deposits that had been knocked loose. This is both good and bad. Good because it means the diesel did loosen deposits. Bad because these particles circulated through the engine before getting trapped in the filter. Critically, I didn't find chunks or large pieces of sludge. Everything that came through was fine particles the filter could catch. This suggests the diesel acted as a solvent but didn't cause a catastrophic avalanche of debris. After draining the diesel and oil mixture, I installed a new oil filter and refilled the crankcase with fresh synthetic oil. I started the engine and monitored oil pressure closely. Pressure came up to normal range within seconds and remained stable. I drove the vehicle for approximately 1 week and 200 miles, then changed the oil again. This second oil change is critical. You want to flush out any remaining diesel and dissolved contaminants that might still be circulating. When I drained the oil after 200 miles, it came out noticeably cleaner than the oil I'd been changing previously at 5,000-mile intervals. Cutting open that filter showed less contamination than recent changes, suggesting the diesel flush did remove some accumulated deposits. Oil pressure remained normal throughout. Engine noise didn't change. There were no signs of bearing damage or oil starvation. From a purely observational standpoint, the engine survived the procedure without apparent damage. Now let's talk about whether this was worth doing, because that's what you really want to know. Did the diesel flush remove sludge? Based on filter analysis and cleaner oil at the next change, yes, it removed some deposits. Was it dramatically effective? Not as much as I expected. The improvement was modest, not revolutionary. Was it dangerous? In this case, no catastrophic damage occurred. But that doesn't mean it's safe. I got lucky that loosened deposits drained properly and didn't clog the oil pump pickup. The next person trying this might not be so fortunate. Here's the honest assessment. The diesel flush provided some cleaning benefit, but not enough to justify the risk for most engines. Modern detergent oils will clean a sludged engine gradually and safely through frequent oil changes. That's slower but far less likely to cause sudden failure. The only scenario where I'd consider doing this again: a severely sludged engine that's already compromised and worth gambling on, combined with dropping the oil pan afterward to physically clean out loosened debris. For a healthy engine with normal sludge accumulation, it's not worth the risk. Quick question before we continue. Have you ever tried an aggressive engine flush, whether diesel or commercial product? Drop your experience in the comments. Did it work, or did you have problems? And if you're finding this documentation useful, hit that like button. We're about to cover what modern mechanics recommend instead. Let's talk about the modern alternatives that are safer and often more effective than diesel flushing. Method 1. Frequent short-interval oil changes with quality synthetic oil. If you have sludge buildup, switch to a quality full synthetic with strong detergents and change it every 3,000 to 4,000 miles for 3 or 4 changes. The detergents in modern oil are specifically designed to dissolve and disperse sludge gradually without clogging passages. This is slow but safe. Method 2. Commercial engine flush products designed for the purpose. Products like Amsoil engine and transmission flush, leaky moly engine flush, or Seafoam are formulated with detergents that clean at the molecular level. You add them to the oil, idle for 10 to 15 minutes, then drain. These products are designed to keep dissolved material in suspension so it drains properly rather than settling in the pan. The advantage over diesel: these products are engineered specifically for this application. They're tested to ensure material dissolves into particles small enough to pass through oil passages without clogging. Diesel is just a crude solvent without those guarantees. Method 3. Manual disassembly and cleaning. For severely sludged engines, removing valve covers to scrape out deposits manually, then dropping the oil pan to clean it physically, is the most thorough approach. It's labor-intensive but eliminates the risk of loosened debris clogging critical passages. Most professional mechanics recommend Method 1 for normal sludge and Method 3 for severe cases. Method 2, commercial flushes, falls in the middle for engines with moderate contamination. Let's address some myths about engine flushing that persist online. Myth number 1. Diesel or kerosene is better than commercial engine flush products. False. While diesel is a solvent, it's inferior to modern flush products engineered specifically for this purpose. The only advantage diesel has is cost. It's cheaper than dedicated flush products. Myth number 2. Engine flushing is necessary with every oil change. Absolutely false. Engine flushes are not routine maintenance. Diesel engine manufacturers specifically advise against engine flushes for vehicles that have had regular oil changes. If you maintain your vehicle properly, flushing is unnecessary and potentially harmful. Myth number 3. You can flush any engine without risk. False. The risk varies by engine condition. A lightly contaminated engine will handle flushing better than a heavily sludged engine where loosened debris can clog oil passages. The worse your sludge problem, the more dangerous aggressive flushing becomes without physically cleaning the oil pan. Myth number 4. Running diesel in your engine for longer periods cleans better. Dangerously false. Extended exposure to diesel fuel, which lacks proper lubricants, increases the risk of wear on bearings, camshafts, and other components dependent on oil film strength. The traditional procedure limited exposure to 10 to 15 minutes for good reason. Here's what I learned from this experiment that applies practically to your situation. If your engine has visible sludge but runs normally, the safest approach is frequent oil changes with quality synthetic for several cycles. This is boring, unglamorous, and slow, but it works without catastrophic risk. If you're determined to use a flush product, choose a modern commercial engine flush over diesel fuel. They're engineered for this specific purpose and significantly safer. Follow the product instructions exactly, don't exceed recommended idle time, and change the filter immediately after flushing. If your engine has severe sludge that's causing operational problems like low oil pressure, noisy lifters, or oil consumption, flushing alone won't fix it. You need mechanical disassembly to physically remove deposits, or you're gambling on whether loosened material clogs something critical. Never flush an engine with unknown service history unless you're prepared to drop the oil pan and inspect the pickup screen afterward. You don't know how much material is hiding inside, and you can't predict whether it'll drain cleanly. And most importantly, prevent sludge in the first place. Change your oil at reasonable intervals with quality oil. Drive the vehicle long enough to reach full operating temperature regularly, and you'll never need to flush anything. The bottom line on my diesel flush experiment: it worked in the sense that it removed some deposits and the engine survived. But the improvement wasn't dramatic enough to recommend this technique over safer modern alternatives. The old mechanics who swore by diesel flushing in the 1960s and 1970s were working on engines with non-detergent oils that sludged badly. Those engines had larger clearances, lower oil pressures, and were less sensitive to momentary lubrication loss. Modern engines are tighter tolerance, higher stress, and more vulnerable to damage from aggressive cleaning methods. If your engine runs well, leave it alone and maintain it properly. If it has sludge issues, use frequent oil changes or a purpose-designed commercial flush product. If it has severe sludge, consider mechanical cleaning. Save diesel fuel for your diesel truck, not your engine's crankcase. Next week, I'm testing whether synthetic oil additives like ZDDP supplements actually protect your engine or if they're unnecessary for modern vehicles. I'll be running oil analysis to see what's actually in your oil and whether these additives improve protection or waste money. If this experiment gave you information you can actually use, subscribe and hit that notification bell. We test controversial automotive claims with real-world experiments every week. Drop a comment with your biggest takeaway from this experiment. And if you've done something similar, share your results. Both successes and failures help everyone learn. Thanks for watching, and remember, just because something was done for decades doesn't mean it's the best approach today. Question everything, test carefully, And always prioritize your engine's safety over curiosity.